Welcome to the best Goblin Hideout tutorial for Crystal Realms. Today I'm going to be showing you exactly how to beat this dungeon and what items you'll need to do so. For starters, we obviously need a weapon. I'd recommend to not go with anything below an iron sword. Anything other than that and it just gets really tedious. So Pyman decided to drop an update as I was editing this video, and he added a bunch of new stuff. There are 4 new weapons now, and these are scythes, spears, daggers, and a shotgun. Everything I've said is still relevant, and I would still recommend to use swords. Some weapons are better in different spots of the dungeon, but having just a sword is fine. Potions are optional and are not required, but if you really want to, you could go for a speed potion or a potion of regeneration, or even a potion of devastation, which increases damage by 10. And finally, wings are also optional, but they sure do make life a lot easier. So if you have the shards for it, just get yourself a pair of angel wings. Oh, and I almost forgot about armor sets. This update introduced a new and more affordable armor type, and that is the copper armor. Previously, there was only the goblin armor and the ancient goblin armor, which is very expensive. And now, just for a mere 270 copper bars, you can get the full set, and it's actually pretty good. Here's how it does against some mobs in the dungeon. So yeah, as you can see, it gives a pretty good amount of protection. Oh, and get apples. 1 apple heals 20 health points, and they're really not that hard to get. You get them from breaking oak leaves. Now to actually go inside the Goblin Hideout, you're gonna need to buy a Goblin Hideout map from the store here, under special items, and it should cost about 20 realm tokens. Once you bought one, let's go in together. For this tutorial, I'll just be using an iron sword, just to show you guys how to do it. There are 4 areas in the Goblin Hideout. The starting area, the hideout core, the treasure room, and the exit. Starting room is the room we spawn in. The hideout core is the main area with the most loot and the most enemies. Treasure room is obviously, as its name implies, the treasure room. And finally, the exit is where you escape. There are 2 main objectives in this dungeon. To collect 3 of the keys for the doors, and to collect all the emerald ore. The keys can be found scattered around the world, and upon picking one up, portals that lead to other areas will now turn green, which means that you're not able to go through them. For the emerald ore, it's actually pretty easy to get this. The ore can spawn in 2 of the following ways. A small piece of ore that contains only 1 piece of emerald ore, or a giant clump that contains multiple. All you have to do to collect them is equip a sword or a pickaxe or any tool, and just click on it. No matter where you are, you'll always collect it. And now it's time to move on to the mobs. The first mob we have here is the Wizard Goblin. He has 160 HP, he deals 14 damage, and his weakness is death damage, so basically any scythe weapon. The second mob we have here is the Goblin Dog. With 40 less HP, he does 12 damage, and his weakness is the same as the Goblin Wizard's one. Oh, and just a quick side note, death damage is a damage type that deals more damage to alive mobs. All the scythes right now deal death damage, however, that does not mean that you should only use scythes, since their attack speed is much slower. I won't be going over damage types in this video, but I might make a video in the future. For now, just know that death damage deals more damage to alive mobs. And with that being said, let's move on to the next mob, which is the Tinkerer Goblin. This guy is 140 HP, and he does the most damage out of all the goblins. This guy does a whopping 18 damage per shot. Oh, and he also ignores all armor types, so wearing armor against him is kind of useless. Next up, we have the tank of the goblin group, and I find this one pretty annoying to deal with. The Armored Goblin. This guy has an insane amount of HP, he deals the same damage as the Wizard Goblin, and his weakness is once again death damage. And finally, for our last mob, we have the Warrior Goblin. This guy has the same amount of HP as the Armored Goblin, he does 12 damage, and once again the weakness is the same. Now that I finished talking about the mobs, I'll briefly talk about the traps, and then the layouts of the dungeon and how to defeat the enemies. There are a total of 8 traps in the game right now. The first trap we have here is the electric trap. This trap goes off every few seconds or so, and the time it takes to go off depends completely on the room it's in. This trap will insta-kill you, so it's better to always just wait for it to go off before actually trying to pass it. The next trap is a saw blade. Just don't touch it and you'll be fine. And here we have the dart trap. Unlike the saw blade or the electric trap, the dart trap will not insta-kill you. However, if you do touch one of its darts, it will damage you, so be careful. The giant eyeball is a pretty rare trap. I'm pretty sure you only find it in this layout, but anyway, they're pretty easy to avoid, but if you do touch one, you will instantly die. The fire trap is very similar to the electric trap. It'll go off every few seconds or so. The only difference is that this one has a bit more range. The spike trap is a bit different. Once you step on it, it'll take around half a second to set off. If you touch the spikes, they will insta-kill you. So a good rule of thumb is if you see one, just walk over it and don't stop. Unlike a spike trap that retracts, spikes will always be there. If you see one, just don't touch it, and you're okay. And finally we have, well, it's just lava. It won't insta-kill you, but it will damage you a little bit if you touch it, so just don't touch it. And now that we went over the mobs and traps, I'll be going over some dungeon room layouts on how to kill all the mobs. First up is the Goblin Wizard in this layout here. This is probably one of the tougher spots you could have gotten for him, but the idea is still the same. Basically, whenever he fires his orbs, you want to quickly swoop in, get a few hits, and then go back. And just repeat this process until it's dead. Oh, and here's a pretty neat trick. If you have a sight, you can hit him from here. And for the orbs, just jump over them. Here we have 4 electric traps and 1 goblin dog. The bottom 2 electric traps will go off first and then the top 2. Just wait for all 4 traps to go off and then jump up. As soon as you land on the same floor as the dog, hit it 6 times and that will kill it without even fully waking it up. Some people might find this layout kind of tricky, but it's actually not if you know what to do. Just follow the path I take, and when you reach the goblin, go ahead, jump on him, hit him, and as soon as he reaches an edge, go on top of him and keep attacking. Whenever you're in this position, even if he shoots, he can never damage you. Here we have 2 fire traps and 2 armored goblins. There's a pretty cool trick you can do here. You can actually jump over the fire, but you do have to be careful. Now, armored goblins never actually reach the edge of the path they're currently on, so you can actually stand at the very edge and hit them from there. And as soon as they turn around, just continue hitting them. The warrior goblin has an interesting mechanic. When you get close to him, he will put his shield up, and if you hit him then, you will do a lot less damage. So what I like to do is bait his shield and then quickly go behind him to hit him. As soon as he puts his shield down, move away for a second or you will get hit. And then just repeat the process. This layout has 2 fire traps, 2 dart traps, 1 wizard, and 1 warrior goblin. What I like to do is go for the chest first. If you don't break the chest and you actually try to attack the warrior goblin, the auto aim will aim towards the chest and not the warrior goblin if you have a weapon equipped. So just break the chest with a pickaxe, quickly switch to your normal weapon, finish off the warrior goblin, and then finally, I go for the wizard. Here, we have a pretty big layout with 4 floors. The 4th floor has 2 fire traps and some spikes. Be careful of the 2 fire traps because they do go in an alternating pattern and that can catch out people sometimes. The 3rd floor has 2 spike traps and 1 goblin tinkerer. The 2nd floor has a warrior goblin and a goblin dog. Finally, the 1st floor has 2 dart traps, 1 fire trap, and 2 spike traps. Killing the mobs here should be pretty simple. Just follow what I did in the previous layouts, and just watch out for the traps. The room on the bottom left is kind of useless, but some emerald ore can spawn, so always check it out. And be really careful of the 2 side traps. This room is a pretty common one. Sometimes you're going to be coming in from the bottom where the fire traps are. If you do, just wait for them to finish and then walk past them. Killing the mob should be pretty simple. Just follow what I did in the previous layouts. I like to go for the dog first, then the goblin tinkerer, and then the wizard. Always go for the goblin tinkerer before the wizard, because if you don't, he can hit you while you're attacking the wizard. Here we have another common layout. At the bottom there we have a path with a dart trap. Just use the gaps to dodge the dart and then keep walking through. As for the mobs, we have 2 goblin tinkerers, 1 armored goblin, and 1 wizard goblin. Once again, the order you kill these guys in doesn't really matter, but I would recommend you kill the goblin tinkerer on top before going to the wizard. This room might look a bit complex, but don't worry, I'll break it down. Watch out for the dart traps and use the same strategy I showed you previously to kill the goblin warrior, and then for the goblin tinkerer, everything is pretty much the same. Just make sure you don't stay too long on the unstable platforms, or you will fall into the saw blades. Oh, and don't forget the chest. Here's a more simple layout. Just kill the mobs and don't get hit by the dart trap. Oh, and if you have a sight, there's a pretty neat trick you can do to clear this room faster. Wait for the warrior goblin to get into this position, walk in front of him, then quickly behind him, and then swing your sight. You'll be hitting both of them, and you'll be dealing full damage to the warrior goblin. This one's a pretty annoying layout because once you touch the lava once, you'll probably bounce into another lava block and so on. Other than that, there's just an armored goblin and a chest. Just make sure not to touch the lava on your way back down, like I did here. Here we have a pretty big layout. It consists of 3 columns. The first column has a bunch of lava and mushrooms. Sometimes this can lead to a room on the bottom left, so make sure to always check it. The center column has lava and 2 fire traps on the right side, and an unstable platform right here. The third column has 3 electric traps, and they go off in this order. And most of the time, the third column leads to another room. And finally, we have this row on the top that has 1 armored goblin and 1 warrior goblin. Oh, and once again, if you do have a sight, you can actually hit both of them at the same time, so try it out. For this room, if you don't have wings, you want to jump on the electric trap as soon as it stops, and then you can just finish off the warrior goblin. The best way to clear this room is to wait for the goblin tinkerer to go really close to the dog, and then jump on the platform. This way you can kill the dog, and then you can just finish off the goblin tinkerer. Now for this layout, you may think that if you pass the fire traps while they're on, you'll die. But no, you can actually pass right through them while they're on. All you gotta do is just not jump, and then the goblin tinkerer should be pretty easy to kill. Now this room is one of the few, if not the only one, that has giant eyeballs as a trap. These eyeballs insta-kill you, so just make sure not to jump anywhere close to them. Now the wizard, you can just kill him with the same tactics I showed before. However, if you have a sight, you can stand at the bottom level, and you can hit him without getting hit. This layout is a pretty annoying one because sometimes when you jump up to the chest, you might get hit by the armored goblin and that will push you into the saw blades. But first of all, to actually get up, you want to wait for the fire traps to stop, jump and hold the jump button, and then go on the spring. Then you want to jump onto the 2 platforms. Also, make sure that the armored goblin is nowhere near where you're going to jump before jumping. When you're on this level, you can get the chest first and then you can finish off the goblin. Before moving on to the final part of the video, I want to let you guys know that I have a Discord server. So if you just need help, or want to talk to people, or even want to talk to me, then I've left a link down in the description. I'll probably be hosting events sometimes, so if that also interests you, then go ahead and join. This layout looks a lot more intimidating than it actually is. Even if the fire trap is on, just hold the left arrow, and as soon as you land on the unstable platform, just hold the right arrow down. I see a lot of people finding this room pretty hard, and I guess it just comes down to practice. You want to try to jump from the very corner, and obviously avoid the fire trap, and don't stand too long on the spike trap. This room is always useless, so if you see it, don't go to it unless there is a room above it. And yeah guys, if you've come this far, you should now be a professional at dungeons. So bye bye!